The Bulls moved on from Nikola Vucevic, who isn't averaging terrible numbers considering that he's a 35-year-old center. But they move on from him, send him over to Boston. And the thing that shocked me, though, that I'm on the fence on how I feel about it, is they do send Anfernee Simons, who is a good, like, off the bench player for a championship caliber team. They send him over, and then they both send each other a second round pick. First, for me, before I get your guys' opinions on this, this is a very interesting move for Boston because they I'm not sold on whether or not Tatum is going to come back or not this year. I think last week they said that Tatum's actually like reconsidering even the thought of coming back at all. And then they make this move, which it fills up a big need at the center position for them, for sure. They've been in search for not a Porzingis replacement, but just like someone to be dominant in the 5 position for them this entire season. But making this move this season with someone that old makes me really think that maybe they are actually going to give Jason Tatum the chance to come back this year, and they're going to just say, screw it. Let's try to compete this season. Obviously, there are a lot better teams in the NBA right now that they would have to go through to even consider competing for an NBA championship. But I don't know. This move makes me think that they really were like, no, we're going to try this year. But I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on this.
I can start this one and I'll let Hunter, because I'm sure he's got more in-depth thoughts. Um, on the outs, like the far few, it's an expiring deal for an expiring deal and swapping second round picks.
Yep.
Like that's the basis of this deal. Simons is a good player, was averaging good numbers this year. Didn't start a game for the Bulls, but he was known as that like off the bench spark where it's like, hey, I'm going to get 15 to 16 points and really command that second unit. For Vucevic, this is a guy that has been in trade rumors. It feels like the last 4 years, and the Bulls finally moved on from him as he's in the last year of his current contract. You have the numbers on this previous graphic, but Vooch is having a pretty good season, like you said, for a 35-year-old, almost 17 points a game, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. This just gives you more insurance at that center position for Keita, who's kind of inexperienced when it comes to like playing in a deep playoff run. And as much as I love Luka Garza and all the PPR numbers of Luka Garza,
God, he's so strong.
It just gives you more insurance at that center position, and another experienced guy who's maybe not been on the deepest playoff runs because he's only been with the Magic and the Bulls, and I think the Bulls have only made the playoffs once.
He has not been on even a playoff run in general. To
like,
be on a run, you have to win a series. I don't know if he's ever done that.
I'd have to look that. I don't. Now that you say that, I don't think he has. But all that to say, if you're the Celtics, it's a why not trade. I mean, you're not really giving up too much in Simons, and like you said, if Tatum does come back, then you have an interesting starting lineup of Peyton Pritchard, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Derek White, and Porzingis, and Vucevic. The number 8 is throwing me off because that's Porzingis' old number.
I bet
then you have Hauser.
They probably photoshopped that off of.
Yeah, honestly, probably just swapped Vucevic's head for
the jersey.
Porzingis.
Looks a little big on him. I'm pretty sure that's a Porzingis jersey if I've ever seen one.
But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a win-win move because for Chicago, again, we'll get to them later on. They acquired their like 12th different guard. It feels like this trade deadline, and now they don't have any centers. But for Boston, for a team that's third in the East right now, with how bad the Eastern Conference is, even with Tatum missing, like let's say he misses 70 games this year and only gets to play the last few to tune up for the playoffs, they're still probably the second favorite to win the East right now, only probably behind Detroit, maybe New York. So if you're Boston, why not take a swing while you have a really good record. But for Chicago, it's kind of questioning. But I guess it's an expiring deal if you look at it that way. So
yeah, and like the crazy thing about it is there's so many different lineups now that the Celtics can do now that Vucevic is on their roster if assuming Tatum is going to give it a crack and like attempt to play this season. Because you mentioned Derek White. Derek White could end up coming off the bench again, or Peyton Pritchard could end up coming off the bench again, which, I mean, it's not a bad thing whatsoever having one of those guys come off the bench, which replaces the Anfernee Simons movement to Chicago. But Hunter, what are your thoughts on this? Does it really move the needle for you on either team?
Yeah, I honestly agree wholeheartedly with what Dawson was saying. Especially for Boston, like I think if I remember right, they cut Boucher and they cut Tillman. So that left them then with Garza and
Thank you, Tillman, for your service.
Sure. That left them with Garza and then Keita. And so just in general, like the big question has been like their center position, and now they have somebody at least for this year because they kind of just meandered themselves to the 3rd seed right now. And like Dawson said, honestly, probably the 2nd best team in the East right now. Especially offensively, they've been electric this year, surprisingly enough. And even on the defensive end, at the beginning of the year was a lot of question marks, but have really cleaned things up. And now are top 10, I think, in points allowed per 100 possessions, which is pretty solid. Chicago. This honestly just felt like a why not kind of thing. Like Dawson said, even Vooch has just been on the trade block forever. I think Bulls fans just have wanted him gone. It's kind of a shock he lasted longer than Levine and DeRozan and literally everybody. Kobe White at this point, which is just wild. I feel like the next guy up for being sent out is probably going to be Baby Kawhi, Pat Williams. And so, their team is just wild. I don't get it. They have such a wide array of 2nd-round picks now. They've got a few firsts as well, but they got like 9 2nd-round picks just from this whole trade fiasco stuff. I'm sure like I said, we'll get to more of what they did here probably in a bit, but overall, I do like this quite a bit for Boston, and it'll be interesting to see what they do next year, especially as Tatum being hopefully fully healthy and being able to play for most of next season. Well, being healthy and playing next season fully. Full strength, and see what they can do with that opening now at the center position. And it'll be interesting to see what they do.
One thing I want to add about Vucevic, the guy plays. He's played in 70 or more games every single season. And if you throw out the season that the league shut down due to COVID, he's played in 70 or more games every single year since the 2018 season. So the dude plays. Like, at worst, you're getting a guy that's averaging 17 points a game, 9 rebounds, can shoot the 3 ball, can space the floor. It's good. Like, that's at worst for Boston. At best, he's a former All-Star. Granted, he's probably not going to see that for the rest of his career. But what they do in the offseason, if they re-sign him on a cheaper deal, I really like the fit with Vucevic in Boston.
It's just they're doing the Al Horford thing all over again, really, with Vucevic. But I'm interested to see where this goes. I think if Tatum does play again, and if Tatum is even half of as good as he was when he was in his prime the last couple of years in those playoff runs, like it will be interesting to see with how wide open the Eastern Conference is.